views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. I represent Bahamian people. I from Nassau, Bahamas, big up Dayton, bro. Where I from Dayton, bro. Right between West and Augusta, where them two roads meet, they call it Wilkinson Street. Manners and respect was like a sign blank check. It seems the ones that coming after quick to disrespect. You see, this life in the ghetto never easy. So many hungry days break till it grieve me. But I doing the best I can, trying to turn my dollar to 100 grand. I represent the ghetto people. I from Nassau, Bahamas, big up Dayton, bro. Where I from Dayton, bro. Don't take no back talk, no bribe or no joke.
Good night, Bahamas, and welcome to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. I'm your host, Valentino, a.k.a. Scoochie or Scrooge, host of the talk show Inside the Inner City that premieres every Friday, except holidays. Our telephone numbers tonight are 323-6232, 325-4316, and 325-4259. You can text us, powered by BTC, 422GR96. I just like to say, the so-called holidays just went. I think we need to change that day, what we call Christmas. I don't think that is relevant right now in this time. We need to change that and give it a different name or do something else. Seems that truth and lies, and then the truth comes out, and I guess this is what is happening now. So people not celebrating on that day no more because, they said that, so-called that Christ was not born on the 25th of December. They were saying sometime around March or April, which is the beginning of spring when the trees them blossoming, not when it's cold. Should not be considered the beginning of the year, according to the European calendar. Not the European calendar, excuse me. Ethiopian calendar. Today's show, we're going to talk about some international matters that happened. We also want to talk on some comments made by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Fred Mitchell, concerning statements he made a few weeks ago, saying that it's going to be harder for Bahamians to actually get into the Bahamas. We had a great connection with the U.S. government. We could travel with our police record. So I guess they somehow is clamping down on us. I don't know if it's because of the human smuggling or because some of the allegations have been made against high officials who were part of our armed forces in the country, and it's connected back to the U.S. I heard the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Honorable Fred Mitchell, he kind of soft the voice now based on what happened in Venezuela. He see that Mr. Donald Trump, of the President of the United States, is actually boycotting the UN. He's actually pulling out of anything that the UN has to offer because he says it's not benefiting America. That was said by the State Department of the U.S. They are moving towards just doing what the President of the United States says. So he is more like a dictator, and he ain't got no time to play. And I think we as Bahamians are feeling the effects of these now seems to be harder for us to get in the U.S. See, what our government officials fail to not address is why is it Bahamians harder to get in the U.S. now all of a sudden? Is it because of all those allegations that's been happening in the country and the U.S.? Now, mind you, the U.S. really can't do nothing with the Bahamas because we have our own jurisdiction, okay? They can't interfere in our affairs, okay? They can't. But what they can do is that they can start to tighten up on our travel and the restrictions bit by bit because we are one of the closest allies to the U.S. We serve the U.S. the greatest purpose in the whole world because in the Bahamian waters, we have 700 islands, 700 keys, and Bahamians need to understand this. The Bahamas, with its geological map, where we're in this position, we have some of the best waters in the world. We are the most protected place in the world because we have a lot of nuclear subs that uses our water. So this is one of the reasons the United States of America has a great partnership with the Bahamas because we also protect them from attacks from places like Russia or Cuba or anyone who wants to hit directly with a nuclear weapon or any type of terrorism. The Bahamas is like a gateway for the U.S. So all the screening goes here in the Bahamas. And I don't know, based on all of this corruption going on in our country, has now trickled to us. And I heard the minister saying this. And then he also said this. So, I listened to words very clearly. And he stated that, let me get his words right. He stated, He stated, if I'm correct, let me see, man, I got to get it right. Okay. When the minister was responding, he said that the reason a lot of work permits were given out in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas because we had a lot of unskilled laborers in the country. So that's one of the reasons they had to give out a lot of job permits, So when he said that, and then he talked about how it's going to be harder for us as Bahamians to get in the U.S., you're making it seem like the Bahamians cost this. Now, some Bahamians cost it, instead of smuggling and drugs and firearms, they themselves. But when you're looking at persons who have access to maps, to navigate now in the Bahamian waters, like the Defense Force, and they navigate, they know strategic points on how to dock the U.S. Coast Guard and the U.S. Navy, because, the Bahamian Defense Force officers, they know how to man their waters. They know the waters like the back of their hand, especially when you're a seaman, because you're out to sea and you're getting trained on a daily basis, so you know the waters like the back of your hand. And in these incidents, and when you listen to this case, these were given to international drug runners and smugglers. And there are like about 15 persons who looking to be arraigned in the U.S. Right? So why is it that we are getting the blame for what government officials do? And we're still not getting a good response from government because we're not hearing what we want to hear, like things going on with senior cops on the Royal Bahamas Police Force. And then, we hear an investigation here. But we don't know the implication that is having on us as Bahamians, who was not involved in these illegal activities. Now, what has happened now when the U.S. government, getting the information, and then they had a lot of drug busts all over the country, all over. Some involve connections with Bahamian law enforcement, because we have the evidence to prove it, right? So what it goes to tell us, what is happening to us now? Why is it going to be harder for us to get in the U.S. all of a sudden? It's because now, see, the U.S. can get you because as long as you're smuggling drugs into the U.S., they will come after you. Don't care what country in the world you're in, they're going to come after you. But the Bahamas, we're getting a little break because we have some partnership. And it's not so overwhelming where the Bahamas makes drugs. We know the drugs is important, so we're getting away like that too. But we also bringing it in and we're exporting it to America. Now, when you're exporting it to America, this where your country can be challenged. So when I hear the Minister of Foreign Affairs speaking like that, we now as Bahamians have to be very careful, because now the majority of us, because of what's going on with the Bahamas overall, has reached international level where now we are being targeted as Bahamians. Because if you look at the news, if you look at Facebook, you're seeing so many Bahamians of origin either getting busted in Miami, Freeport, and giving us an extra bad name. And all this is connected to the Bahamas. And then if you look at some of these cases, there's a lot of dots that line up in the country. Because what I want the general public to know is that when drugs come in the country, this is how drugs work when it comes to the country. One person receives it. He gets it in a certain portion, then he gives it to somebody, if he gives the portion to somebody else, someone else gives the portion to somebody else. So if we get, just say we get 100 kids, right? I keep 30, right? The rest, I'd give 5 to this one, give 10 to my boy, he live Fox Hill, he live Camp Road, this one live Sun Susie, so it would spread out. And all it would be like partners. They also spread out guns as well around the country, because that's how the business goes. So you don't know, and then we have allegations of police officers being involved in illegal activities, okay? We have a lot of evidence, based on the media, and we put our own analysis together, okay? And it's coming back to haunt us as a nation, but we have not got a good response from our leaders. Say, I analyze these things, and I think about these things, and how it is affecting us. Now, don't mind you, listen what the minister said. Listen what the Minister of Foreign Affairs said. A few weeks ago, he was talking out against the United States of America. Now that Donald Trump went in Venezuela, which is completely against international law. The only way a sitting prime minister or a sitting president or anyone who is elected by the people of that particular country can only be removed if there's a resolution of the United Nations, the League of Nations who together, and they vote to overthrow that particular president or prime minister. There was no vote on this. This is just Mr. Trump has gone, he's turning emperor, and Mr. Trump just don't care. Okay, so I'm going to play a clip with Mr. Trump and to show you the type of persons that we're dealing with in the country. But I also want you all to bear in mind that we in the country of the Bahamas, some of us are becoming immune to wickedness. We are becoming like, what is wrong is right. Just like Mr. Trump, invading the next man, invading the sovereign nation, right? Against international regulation, okay? And we all could argue to this, we all could argue, and come from different angles, but we all know this is wrong. It looked like Mr. Trump cares. He has left the UN because he said it's not beneficial. You know what that means now? He could do what he wants unless Senate stops him. He has the majority of the House, the Senate, and he's a very, very dangerous man. Now, only countries like Russia and North Korea and places like that who have nuclear weapons, they're the only countries he's not really going to really touch. But the Western Hemisphere, like where we are, and countries that don't have nuclear weapons, we are pickings unless we work with the U.S. government. Okay, I just want to listen to Donald Trump, and then we're going to play the clip. But I think after that, what are we going to play after that? Yeah, then we can play the one to show you similarities of what is happening in the U.S. It's happening in our country, and if we don't get rid of this immunity, where high government officials, whether it's politicians, whether it's pastors, whether it's beliefs, who have immunity, and they go out and they kill And even though they're wrong, the government still is saying that they were right. And we all see with our own eyes what happened in the United States, that was murder, regardless on how you put it, because the woman was unarmed, okay? But we just want to play the clip from Mr. Trump and just listen to this. This is Donald Trump, the President of the United States of America. And this is his word to anyone listening.
I don't think there's anything going to get me in heaven. Okay, I think I'm not maybe heaven bound. I may be in heaven right now as we fly in Air Force One. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to make heaven.
That's just the President of the United States saying that he don't think he can make it in heaven. He think that him flying in what it is now? Air Force One is actually heaven. It shows you the extreme what this man has done. And our country is turning in similar ways with our law enforcement, our politics, and our church. We now pick up this imperialist system where we look down on one another and we protect those who are in power. We protect the police, we protect the politicians, and then the subjects who we are, we, same way we get treated at Princess Margaret Hospital when we have the Honorable Philip Brave Davis and former Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, Dr. Hubert Alexander Minnis, they earn their wealth, but they don't go to Princess Margaret Hospital, because they know it's not a place for them to go if they want to get the best of the treatment. They go away. They put their sons and doctors in the best colleges, in the best. You can't blame them, so that in the near future, when they need help, they could call on them. Best physicians, and et cetera, and et cetera, and et cetera. And that's what happened, but they're not going to Princess Margaret Hospital. But many of us, thousands of us, go to the Princess Margaret Hospital. All right, and why I say we are becoming immune? I was listening to Commissioner of Police, Miss Shanta Knowles, who I think is doing an extremely good job, a lot of work, very difficult job. And we had an incident where a young gentleman lost his life inside the police station. And the gentleman's mother, she was on TV and she said that, her son came in living. And then, she ain't got no call from the police station concerning the well-being of her son. She said that she looked on Facebook or someone called her and they said that her son passed away in police custody. Now, we're a little skeptical of basically what's happening in the country, and we always think the worst, based on what's happening with all the allegations made by members of the armed forces. So we are a little skeptical on how we, think towards them. And she said that, she feel that her son, was killed in custody. It's under investigation. The coroners is doing a report. They're looking to do an autopsy. I don't know if the autopsy finishes yet. And then on the New Year's, I think Christmas or New Year's, I can't remember which particular Junkanoo parade, I was just listening to the comments being made on the Junkanoo parade. And Miss Shanta Knowles of the Royal Bahamas Police Force, who is the commissioner, I do understand that, she can say things against the police officer. And this is our biggest problem today, because if someone does something wrong and, it happens, but, as the commissioner, you don't want to send the moral in the force. Better is for the better good of the country. She wouldn't do that. She wouldn't say the officer's at fault, and I just want to put it on a two-way, because it's two sides of the story. There's something could happen in the station where the young gentleman was very aggressive towards the police as well. But I'm still saying that, the police force should be trained enough on how to de-escalate the situation with someone handcuffed in the police station. If there's 4 police officers there, 2 could hold his hand, 2 could hold his leg, and they could throw him in the bus to carry him to court, You understand? Don't care how you resist. But other things could happen because, like I say, our officers are not properly trained. And sometimes persons who are in the station are very aggressive. We we have a very aggressive society now. We are a violent nation, so some people act differently in the station. So there could be two sides to the story. And the mom of the deceased, she spoke on national TV, spoke her concerns, and she made some valid points. Then listen to the bread, and I heard Miss Shanta Knowles. Much respect to her. Like I said, she has a very difficult job. All right. So she responds. The reporter asks her, what's the response of the mother who lost a loved one? Well, the way she said, is like that individual life, that person who died in the police custody, life didn't mean nothing. I could be wrong. I'm just saying, and that's because she's a police officer, and over the course of her 40 years, she has seen numerous dead bodies all over the streets of Nassau, Providence. So sometimes people come immune. Like I was immune because I've been in so much shooting and stuff like that. But as I grew and I got myself to change and become more concerned and caring, that feeling come back. So we have a lot of persons out there who are immune, where they've been in the field so long, like a mortuary, like he and then he cutting up the bodies and stuff like that. So he used to that, He used to that, you go in there, you would fall out and puke up all your guts. So she in a position where she is also traumatized, and she probably don't know how to react because she is representing the Royal Bahamas Police Force, and she don't want to set the morals wrong in the Royal Bahamas Police Force. But what about the morals of the citizen of the country who the Royal Bahamas Police Force is supposed to be protecting and serving? Now, mind you now, there are many great officers around the country who do an outstanding job, because without the officers, we won't have a Bahamas, okay? Because whilst we're sleeping, they're out there looking for guys who commit serious offenses. They're out there stopping crime. They're out there taking guns off the street. We understand all that, but there was a lot of illegal activity going on in the force at that time, and we don't know how much impact it had with crime when it comes to murder or drugs in this country. It could be one of the main reasons we were having such a high crime rate in the last 15, 20 years based on what we've been hearing. Besides the civil matters of jealousy, murders, and etc. But when it comes to the street gang and drugs, that could be a little mixed up because we've been hearing so much talks about who working with who officer working this way and who officer working that way with this one, and how I could get off, and we seeing it. We saw it with Curtis. He's a Bahamian as well. I'm not just talking about this because, we're trying to say bad things about him. This was put in the newspaper. This is the investigation. And when we had, as a senior officer from the Royal Bahamas Police, also in charge of investigating, working with so-called known criminals on ways and how they can not get charged if they were to pay certain money. So all of these things, makes you think. So Miss Knowles, she said, like, I condolences to the mother, but our officers did nothing wrong, which, like I said, is under investigation. We don't know the details. We don't know what happened in the station. She says it's on the camera, so we know in a few weeks. But the gentleman walked in alive, and he came out unalive. And if he came in alive, it's a responsibility of the police to make sure he come back to the station alive so that he can face charges, regardless of the situation, okay? See, in the station sometimes, you have some officers, like if you're struggling, they like put their arms around your neck, like to hold you from the back, or if one officer's holding you, if you're scruffling, in the fight, and then, there's more officers than you, and you're very aggressive. Sometimes they would put their hands around your neck and give you a little choke. But in that space of 3-4 seconds without you breathing them 2-3 gaps of air, you could go unconscious, and you also could die. And this is some of the things that we have to train our officers when they are in the station on how to deal with violent criminals, how to tackle them, and et cetera. Because this is what goes on in our station. And to put the blame, we could put the blame on either side. We could put the blame on the guys who are in the station for whatever offense, and then the police for not being properly trained. But we have a violent society, and we have to do training from the police standpoint. And as a citizen, we have to teach our kids on how to be decent, how to de-escalate situation, how to not put yourself in a position so that you won't be able to put yourself in front of the courts, so that we could grow law-abiding citizens in the country. It's crazy. So when I heard that, right, what the commissioner said, it made me like drop my hand. I said, wow, like the woman's son didn't mean nothing. Like, it's just about protecting the police. We understand that, it's crazy. It's always about protecting. There's no truth. Like, we could never get say our officers was wrong. Why we can't get that? Huh? Why we can't get that? Same thing with the hospital. We had a young lady. What's her name? Miss. Who passed away? Miss Kanish, 30-year-old Kanish. Right. Kanish Adley. She passed away in the hospital. And I don't know the situation surrounding that, but again, it could be negligence, right, on behalf of the hospital, because the family stated, like I said, there's two sides to the story, but anyway, the family stated that, they came and they met their mother, unresponsive and cold. That means she was not attended, okay? Have we gotten an apology from the hospital, I guess, when after autopsy, that it was negligence? We're never going to get that. So to tell you the truth, in this country, Bahamian people, we are going backwards. The system has corrupted us. We fighting against ourselves in this country. And if we don't watch out what is happening in America, with Donald Trump, it's a prime example. He's doing some good stuff. But what he's doing now, he has more like martial law, Gestapo type government over there in the U.S. where you could be innocent and lose your life, and it does not matter. Are we becoming that in the Bahamas, where we're going to allow people innocently to get killed, right? Whether it's in the police station, whether it's on the streets, wherever it is, and we're going to cover it up. Remember the defense force officer who got killed by government hosts? What happened to that? You're trying to tell me someone gone on the government house where it's highly guarded and killed the next defense force officer, and our officer was charged for it, and then that's the end of it? No investigation. A lot of stuff that has been happening in this country, it can't add up. When I read and I see these stuff, I was from the streets and I know all this. I know all the backdoor cuts. And like I said, I've been around a lot of guys who were involved in a lot of activities, a lot of illegal activities, but most importantly, connected to a lot of people in this country who I met by meeting them. So I can tell you, okay? So we're never going to get the truth. We're never going to get it. We're never going to get it, to tell you the truth. In the Bahamas, we fallen off bad. We are corrupted from the top to the bottom, honestly speaking, when I look at all the scenarios. The United States of America is going to get destabilized from within. That's why Donald Trump now is having his ICE agents in America, because if we listen to him good, when he's talking with the Venezuelans, he's talking with the Russians who are in America, he's saying they're coming and bringing drugs and they're getting rich, and they're shipping the money out of the country. He don't want to allow that, because he know if foreigners come in the country, make millions of America, they ship it back home, they could create a big army and fight against the U.S. And it'd be harder for them to deal with the crime issue or immigration policy in their country. He said these things. So what he is doing, he is trying to clean up the U.S. And right now, you're not free in America. Right now. Because we watched a lady on the news who lost her life. We saw that. What it look like to you as a citizen of the country? And then we hear at the end of the day, he cannot be charged. So someone could kill somebody. Someone could kill somebody innocently, right? Whether you believe or whoever he is. And then the government is going to say, the person did something wrong and the officer was justifiable for killing that woman. That woman was unarmed. That woman is a mother. She has a family and everything. She's a law-abiding citizen. All right? And if we see that and we let things like that happen in our country here, right, which it is happening, it's going to get worse for us. in this country. It's going to get worse. Worse. Let me play the clip, please.
Man literally positioned himself in front of Renee's vehicle and shoot round after round after round into her. Now, law enforcement are supposed to justify every last single round.
Bring it out.
He shot her 3 times in the face. The rest of law enforcement made sure that no one, say no one, no one in the crowd could render aid. There was an actual physician that said, hey, I'm a physician. Let me render aid. And they said, stand back and watch her dodge. And so our expectation is that in tragedies like this, law enforcement would undergo due diligence, determine whether or not a crime has been committed, and bring charges.
Yes.
And ultimately, for a jury of this person peers to bring a conviction. Now that's in the normal situation.
Yeah.
What we would normally expect to happen. But we're not dealing with normal times. These aren't normal situations. We have a federal government threatening other portions of its government and saying, if you hold anyone accountable, you'll be terminated. Say terminated.
Terminated.
You'll be fired. Say fired.
Fired.
You may be arrested. Say arrested.
Arrested.
And so they do nothing. We can expect nothing to come from the federal government. So what does that leave? It leaves the state. I'm here today to call upon our local officials to stand up. Say stand up.
Stand up.
And do something.
Do something.
Stand up.
Stand up.
And do something.
do something.
Why did we send you here?
Yes.
If the county attorney won't prosecute, if the attorney general won't prosecute, if the governor won't order an investigation, if the sheriff won't conduct an investigation, if the police chief won't conduct an investigation, and then if the BCA this morning will release a statement and say the feds told us to stay out of it, and then they say, okay,
Right.
we'll stay out of it. When have they ever done that? We cannot expect the federal government to do anything in this situation. And you all heard law professor Nikema say, we locally have the authority to investigate and to bring charges. Now, if a judge makes a jurisdictional determination later, so be it. But we expect this county attorney in this county, right here in Minneapolis, to bring charges.
Yes.
We expect this attorney general office to support any investigative needs, any charges that may be brought. The support coming from the top is what we need, because we will get justice nowhere else.
That's right.
They've already said it. They've already expressed it. We should not expect it. So we need our local authorities to stand up or tell us you are abandoning us.
Yes.
Tell us you are going to allow federal tyranny.
That's right.
We're talking about murder.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, and that's what's going on in the U.S. right now, and that's civil unrest. And what it's going to cause is they're going to fight. They are going to have a lot of infighting, a lot of incidents like that we were seeing. We had George Floyd. Now we have this lady. We had many others before that. We could go way back from the 1800s, 1900s. We could keep on going back and back and back, and we see it's getting worse there as well. The federal government is taking over. the Gestapo. If you really know what they're talking about, the federal government is over the police. They're over the sheriff. You know, they are actually taking orders from Donald Trump. And these guys are complete killers. You understand? They kill that innocent woman. And if this is the world we want to live in, where someone could kill an innocent person, okay, whether it's in the United States or here, and then we have comments made by, like I said, Ms. Knowles, I listened closely, and she said this too in response when the news reporter asked the mother who is grieving for her son. Regardless of the situation, what he was locked up for, a mother's love, and he still has a family. And we all are family in the Bahamas, you know. And she said that the mother has a right to do an autopsy. And she said it's very expensive. Listen to that now. And that she would get the same results as what the coroners is going to give because she feel that her officers did nothing wrong. You know, those... yeah, boy, attacking the system. The system is going to be the end of us, people. Yeah, we could have the system, but we can make the system work for us. We don't have to be imperialists, you know, because you have immunity. You understand? And it's hard for certain police officers to get charged for criminal offenses in the country. If you listen to the Minister of National Security, he said it's very difficult. It takes I think, the Commissioner of Police, and I think, hold on, if I'm correct, I think it takes the Commissioner of Police and the Governor General, or the Prime Minister and the Governor General, or something like that, to actually fire a senior officer off the force, or to even bring him up on charges, because that's how he's protected from a sergeant perspective, and even the local constable. But when you reach those positions of inspector, ASP, and chief inspector, and assistant commissioner of police, you know, you are protected, you know, by the system. That's what we're seeing happen in our country, you know. And I know that we in the Bahamas, we are getting destroyed within, because when you see things like, we had how much babies we found in a car. A gentleman, God bless his soul, he was passing the particular area, and he heard some cries. And he ran to the aid of that cry, and he found, I think, a little baby boy. And then just recently, again, they found a next little baby in a car. And I heard the Minister for Social Service, he spoke on the matter. He said, don't be so quick to be judgmental. Even though the baby is found in the car, we heard no other news about the situation after the minister responsible for social service spoke on the matter. And when he said, don't be judgmental, so that means probably those people were living in that car with that baby. Probably they had no place to stay. So the car was the only place they could have been. You understand? That's why when I listened, he said, don't be so judgmental, you know? So, you know, then we see mistreatment by the Princess Margaret Hospital, where we saw Miss Chelsea Adley, you know, who lost her life, and she talked to her daughters and et cetera, and she told them, and her sons, them, and the family that, you know, filed a complaint against the Princess Margaret Hospital for negligence, you know. I just saw that when the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Mitchell, spoke, he said that one of the reasons they were given the work permits was because there were a lot of unqualified Bahamians in the country, and that they had to bring in foreigners. And this is one of the reasons he started to talk about these things. So that gives the Bahamas government reason to bring in these skilled workers. But some of these skilled workers are from countries that do illegal activities with America, and they come to the Bahamas. And how he's saying that makes one to think, you know? So that's why the U.S., you know, starting to come down on us, you know? Didn't he say it? Didn't the Minister of Foreign Affairs say it's going to be a little difficult for Bahamians to enter the United States? And then he said something else, like I told you when he started talk with why they give a lot of work permits and et cetera, because of the unskilled and need workers in the country because we have a lot of work needs to be done, but we have a lot of unskilled. I don't think we don't have a lot of unskilled. I think we are underpaid because I saw the Minister of Health just hire, I think, about 40 or 50 retiree nurses to come back to the Princess Margaret Hospital. I think they're underpaid. I think if we want to see better conditions at the Princess Margaret Hospital, I think that we're going to have to increase the pay. Teachers, nurses have to be even, if they want higher pay, which I understand that with the current chronicle diseases in the country, and then with a high volume of murders, 100 murders per year, it takes a screen on the doctors and nurses in the accident emergency, and on the gynae ward, and on the female medical one, male medical one, male medical two, the dialysis department, they just are overweight because we have a serious health crisis in the country. And see, we're not even addressing the health crisis in the country. So, like I said, we're going backwards. This, Ms. Adley, this is not going to stop. This is going to continue because we're not doing enough to correct it. We have this problem from a long time, but we're not addressing it. You know why we're not addressing it? Because our governments, they never tell us the truth. They never admit when they're wrong. And they have us guessing. And then when they go and mess up, and then you had the Minister of Foreign Affairs say that it's going to be harder for Bahamians to get in the United States. That's because of you guys. Who's the government? The government and persons who are involved with smuggling drugs in the United States of America, you're all making it bad for us. That's why the United States is making it hard for us to get in America today. That's the reason why. We can play the next clip.
Foreign Affairs Minister Fred Mitchell is speaking out on the United States attack on Venezuela on Saturday, which led to the capture of its president, Nicolas Maduro, and his wife. Mitchell said there is a history of this. However, there doesn't appear as if much can be done.
The peace of the season, however, the zone of peace in the Caribbean, was fractured by the announcement that the United States carried out a military operation in Venezuela, captured its president and his wife to face criminal charges in New York. There is a history of this in our region and elsewhere by the United States. 1965, the Dominican Republic. 1983, Grenada. Panama, 1989. Iraq, 2003. Haiti, 2004. The U.S., under its last Secretary of State, John Kerry, had promised that these interventions were at an end in the hemisphere. But there is now a new doctrine.
In a statement, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs said it supports CARICOM's statement, which called for peaceful dialogue through diplomatic channels to ensure Venezuela's stability. The ministry said of particular importance to the Bahamas is that all parties involved act in accordance with international law.
CARICOM issued a statement expressing its concern over these developments. The ministers of CELAC, which is the Community of Latin American States, met, and apart from the ritual condemnations, though, given the asymmetries of power, there does not appear to be much that can be done on a practical level. The Bahamas stands, however, on the principle of territorial integrity and self-determination. A small state can only rely on the rule of law and must uphold that principle.
The ministry said, owing to the current security situation, the government of the Bahamas has advised Bahamians to not travel to Venezuela. Reporting for the Guardian News Network, I'm Vorney Toot.
Well, sorry, Minister of Foreign Affairs. I heard you loud and clear, but Donald Trump is not dealing with no international court. He is doing his own thing, right? And some countries he's going to step on sovereignty, and some countries he's going to try and do what he's got to do. Like I said, he can't bother with the big countries, so he's trying to disrupt something. But the man has sent a clear message, and you said it. So listen, Bahamas, they blaming us for what our government officials has caused, like small sanctions. These are steps America takes. These little things, these little things, and you see tighter restrictions on entering the U.S. Then when you look, the U.S. talking about visa scams. All of these things, and then you never know about passport forgery. You don't know how true it is, but I know, it happens. People pay that money, and they get it because there are people in the place. So I guess, all of these things now is making the detention making attention to the defense of the United States. And they are really, really, going after anyone who is pushing drugs in their country, which they are one of the biggest drug distributors in this part of the world, because there's a lot of drugs that get made in America from a lot of pharmacists who live in America. So don't get it twisted now, There's some serious drugs there that they make, fentanyl and all this stuff they make there. The one name now? Then you have the next one, like cocaine and stuff like that. So many different pills that makes in the U.S. So Donald Trump can't get me on that one, but I understand he is a man on a mission. And like he say, he's not going to get in heaven. He's a loose cannon. He already knows he's going to hell. So as far as he's concerned, as long as he's living and he's the president, he is going to do what he wants to do. He has taken the United States of the majority of the UN partnership. You understand? He's leaving CARICOM. He looks like he wants to leave CARICOM and all, so that means he don't have to answer to nobody. The president of the United States doesn't answer to nobody. The man is turning an emperor, and he ain't playing. And when I listen to, again, to Mr. Mitchell, his voice kind of soft now, after you see how Trump illegally remove a sitting president. Our Minister of Foreign Affairs had a soft tone and said, we got to do this diplomat, and we have to do this internationally. Yeah, Mr. Trump ain't doing that, even though we have a close relationship with the U.S., mind you. And this is the reason I can tell you that they're still working us. They use our airspace. They use our waters for training, exercise for their nuclear subs. They need us because without our waters, other nuclear subs from other countries around the world would easily slip through and attack the U.S. We are the first line of defense for the U.S. Let me just tell you, the Bahamas is a strategic location for the U.S. So this is one of the reasons they're still working with us. And because we are still a part of the British. So know what your word is in the country. All right? Like I say, Trump will not interfere in Bahamian politics. He will know that some things the United States government don't like, and they start putting little small sanctions like what I'm talking about. You understand? Getting harder to go in the U.S., and et cetera, and et cetera. And they continue to find ways on how they can get us to comply to them without messing up international law, and want to keep a close relationship with the Bahamas. All right? We can play the next clip, please.
Officer Darren Roker, who is facing up to 20 years behind bars for his role in a major cocaine trafficking case, has asked the judge to allow him to return to the Bahamas under supervised release as he is terminally ill. Court papers show that 57-year-old Roker has stage 4 prostate cancer. He pleaded guilty back in October of this year to conspiracy to import cocaine into the United States. He is one of 13 defendants in a case which alleged that traffickers moved tons of cocaine through the Bahamas into the U.S. between 2021 and 2024. U.S. District Judge Gregory Woods will sentence Roker on January 21st of next year.
Okay, my point exactly. This gentleman who is a BMA, I understand he have stage 3 or stage 4 cancer. He wants to come back home. He's a BMA, but boss, your family, so I don't want to be disrespectful to his family. I understand that. But these things that happen, like officers like this guy right there, Petty, who was asking, who pleaded guilty, looking to get sentenced, they gave what strategic information to drug smugglers and firearm smugglers in the Bahamas. How long have that been going on? Have you heard anything from the Minister of National Security addressing this? Have you heard anything from the opposition leader, Michael Pentard, about this? Have you heard anything from the Prime Minister addressing these matters? These matters is matters of the most importance, and we here in this country, we don't take it serious, but here and where we get small sanctions put on us because of the arrogance, and the stupidity of certain members of the armed forces who went into do illegal activity, and now they put a stain on us, and now we are getting small sanctions put on us. And the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Fred Mitchell, said, and telling us as Bahamian people that it's going to get a little tight to get in the U.S. You guys are making it tight. Governments, officials are making it tight. You guys are doing the top crimes in the country. And it's having an effect from the top to the bottom. Now, the bottom feeling it now. On the top. We're going to take this call on Guardian Radio. Go ahead, caller. You're on Inside in City. They still there? Caller, you there? I guess they left. So when I have this discussion, I analyze these things and I see that how we're having a breakdown in our country, you know, just like how America's breaking down. You're going to have mass shooting. You're going to have the federal agents. You're going to have a chaos of madness going on in the country because when God leaves the country, everything starts to crumble. Eh? Everything starts to crumble. America is still big and powerful people, don't get me wrong. But they are getting beat within. You see, the people are talking about an innocent woman get killed. When you see things like this happen, people, listen to me. I have been there. I see these things on the streets. You understand? And I can tell you now, if we keep on indulging and attacking, whether it's the politicians, whether it's law enforcement who go out there and they disgrace the Bahamas, that is not one particular officer. That is not the representation of the 3,000 officers. That is not the representation of the 2,000 Defense Force officers or 3,000 Defense Force officers we have in uniform. That is a small margin of error, which is very big, because you never know how long and how many people is connected. All right, because there's a big smuggling thing going on, and he pleaded guilty, and he was a Defense Force officer. But have we heard the Minister of National Security addresses? Is he still getting his pension? If he was to come back here, will he be brought up on treason charges for giving out strategic location maps and stuff like that to persons who he swore to protect the Bahamian borders, going against the Constitution that he swore against when he was a member of the armed forces? The swear he took against the Bahamas is treason. Okay? Are they addressing these things? You tell me, people. See, we could cover up certain things and believe because we in power or you powerful. Guess what? As big as America is, there's some... What has happened to bullies? Huh? What happened to Rome? What happened to all the civilizations who were there before us who acted violently? You had Hitler. You had Genghis Khan, you know? You had Idi Amin, you know? All great empires crumble when they start to move away from God. They start off good. And now the U.S. is crumbling, and the Bahamas is picking up that same prime example. You know, when we are putting others over the citizenship of this country. Wrong is wrong, and we need to speak up on it. Be protecting it. Just like how the woman get killed in America. I ain't saying that the young guy who went in the station, he could have resisted police. But what was said on national TV in response to a mother who lost a child when he was alive, when he walked in the station, and he come unalive, and then we had a report. Now, he could have a seizure or something like that. But they said that he did not want to go to court, and there were 2 officers, and then they sent for 2 more. So in there, in between there, something happened. And they found him unresponsive. That don't mean, so you all understand where I'm coming from? But the response people, you know, like the police is against the people, and the people is against the police, and you wonder why we're in this position. Because a lot of us who in these churches and politicians and rich, and you believe you're better than people, yeah, you're better than people on the way you think, on the way how you treat people, right? That's the only way you're different. Making the right decision, making the right choices, and helping people when you can help people, you know, makes you different, all right? And right now, our character in this country, it stinks. You know, I came from that life, you know, and I see all the fault in our nation now. You can imagine me, who used to be on the streets and just dealing with pure violence, you know. And my whole life completely changed, you know. I'm so passionate, and I see the mistakes that our country is happening, because when I was on the streets, like I tell you, I see all these things. I could see a guy who was coming up to be a next leader, and I would see this, you know. And then I saw some guys who were just pure killers, like how Donald Trump would just put strikes on the Venezuelan boat, and he'd blow them up. But listen, he has no remorse for human life. You know, this is what I'm trying to say, you know. We get to a point where people could be doing illegal stuff, right? And then you're so big and powerful. But you get to a point where you just blow up a whole ship with 6 or 7 individuals, whether they're smuggling drugs or what. And you blow them up, you kill them. And you know, you come on national TV and say, and you tell the world, huh? They were selling drugs, and boom. All that is murder. All there is murder. Broad daylight. All is murder. And it's just justifiable. It's crazy around the world. They say we living in the days of annoy. You know, just look at us, man, you know. Just look at us. You know, people pass away in the hospital, you know. We as a nation, like, we won with ourselves. Families against one another, brothers and sisters. Man, we all mess right up. You think we could ever get to a point again where the Bahamas can be that place where we love and care for one another and have that integrity and that kindness, you know? Not so much of this corruption that we have, you know? It's crazy, people. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy. And it's getting worse. You know? It's crazy. So I say all this to say on the show tonight is that our leaders are putting us in some position, and they're trying to talk to us, right, and give you some little slick talk, but you got to read between the lines, right? They're putting us in a serious position, because now it's going to be harder for us to travel sooner or directly. You never know what's next. It's crazy. You have any more clips there? That's today. That's the last one there, right? Yeah. So if anyone want to comment on any of the topics we had tonight, because we had a variety of topics, and if you want to comment, you could comment on the hospital. You could comment on the illegal entry in Venezuela by the U.S. president who disregard all international laws. And like I said, the only way Donald Trump could go and invade Venezuela unless it was put before the UN Council and they vote. And if they decide, then he could did what he did, but not a sitting president. Okay, we're going to take this call. Go ahead, caller. You're on Inside in the City on Garden Radio.
Yes, sir, Scrooge. How you doing?
I'm fine.
You know, I listen everything you said, but I come to the conclusion that our governments, past and present, are corrupt.
Yes. Yeah.
And we see all this happening in the U.S. today with Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that the difference with Trump and them other U.S. presidents is that Trump kind of says it all out loud, but the others, they do basically the same thing without saying it, saying so much.
In secret.
Right, or, yeah. They do it, they can't hide what they do. But Trump, they do it and don't say what they do. You gotta, you know what I mean? They saying what they do, but they don't say it. But Trump doing it before he do it.
Yep,
He's saying it before he do it.
Yep. He coming for you.
All of them do.
Yep.
And our government, they tell us we independent, and they know we're not independent. We are coerced. They're like we are extorted. Extortion.
Yes.
We are bullied, and ain't nothing we could do because we're small. As big as Venezuela is, many arms as they have. We had one tanker, right? They had many, right?
Yes.
They had fighters and
but
and
they couldn't get off the ground.
Right, they couldn't get off the ground. Look at little we.
That's why Fred Mitchell said what he said. He voiced little tone now. Listen to him, he was hard a couple of weeks ago, you know.
Right.
When he said U.S. this and U.S. can't. No, I just want you to pick up, you know.
You know, but yet our leaders should tell us to be independent and be sovereign, to be, determine our destination. You know, we can make our own decision. You know what I mean? And they know it ain't true. You know, we still a colony. You know, and then what was been in the news this week. You know, there's this boundaries commission thing.
Yeah.
You know, that's like the value of my vote, bro, and your vote. It ain't equal to the value of the man's voting.
There you go.
Island.
You see what I'm saying? That's what the topic was about today. Some people are treated differently in this country. Government officials are different from us people. Police officials are different.
Right.
Politicians are different than the citizen.
Man, they the ones who benefit from everything.
We different people.
All our resources.
Yes, they get health care. They could go to any government official to get car off the lot or go to the bank and get house loan and everything. Yeah.
And another thing, they like the rich man. Like you see what Trump dealing with. The rich man is the one who benefiting from everything too.
Yeah.
In this Bahamas, and there ain't nothing different.
Yeah.
You know, our government's going to these public-private partnerships to do. The rich people.
Yeah.
They should be in the partners with us. The stuff belongs to us. Everybody.
Yeah.
No, they like to talk about the average man, not the average man, the masses.
That's right.
You know, poor man, he average, he below average. What about the poor man? Let's say the masses, they should be governing for the masses, you see.
Yes.
We got majority rule when Monday, what's with the holiday Monday is coming up?
No, they on majority rule.
Majority rule.
Majority rule, yes.
Right.
That's a bunch of crap.
Yeah, that's a bunch of crap.
Majority don't rule.
We ain't no majority don't rule because the 4,000 voters in my constituency only could bring one member of parliament.
That's right.
And them said, and them my family islands, they only need 1,500 voters, only 1,500 voters in some of them.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't one man, one vote. You see? And they say, look at the United States. They say, oh, well, the United States, they got 60 states and they got 60 senators. You understand? They saying, particularly, they have, every state have 2 senators. Every state, they have like I think it's 120 senators because every state have a senator.
Yes.
Oh, you know what I mean? And but then they fail to tell you that the senators, the amount of the senators voting for the senators don't elect the president.
Yeah.
You see, the electoral votes elect the presidents. That's more or less like the Congress votes.
Mm.
You see, they saying so. Look at California. They have more electoral votes than a little small state.
Mm.
You see, you understand me? And then so like our Senate, right? Our Senate is appointed. So in other words, what they trying to say, and our Senator our Senator even wait because they appointed. We don't even vote for them.
No.
Right? In other words, every island have a senator, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could live with that one. You understand me? But every island shouldn't have an MP.
Mm.
They trying to make every island, you know what I mean? Little 2 islands, Bimini and Berry Islands. Come on, man, how many voters they have?
Mm.
But about 1,500 between the 2 of them.
Mm.
Then I hear someone say, well, all you guys worry about how much children in some consist one, you know what I mean? Children don't vote.
That's true.
They don't vote. So another way they might as well say, well, when you wake, the more children you get, the more pay you get.
Yeah.
You understand me? So
yes.
we do no matter what we do, we can't win.
No.
We can't win no way, bro.
Because we have all the facts there. We have babies born in the car. We have numerous people, one after the other, die in the hospital of mistreatment. We have people dying in police custody. We have people poverty. Man, it is crazy.
this insurance thing. Come on, man. The police, the government buying health care for the police. We have a health care system. Our health care system, we supposed to have our NHI supposed to
Cover that.
That's money, should be money spent on our public health care. They supposed to be better
Yep.
than doctors and,
Yep.
you know what I mean? You see, they saying, so the government pay, in other words, government paying insurance company for health care. Kind of studying, no, man.
That's a scam.
That's a scam.
Yes, absolutely. That's a scam. That's a scam.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Their workers, the government workers, should have the same health care of like everybody else. The government workers now. But then they're what you call it, you know, like when you need a specialist, they should have some funds for them.
Yes, for them. Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. That's a privilege coming being a government employee, whether it's a police officer, defense force officer, nurse, or anyone in government department. Yes, you're right.
Right, and you don't buy that from no health insurance.
No.
Company that stay in the you know what I mean, in the government funds to do that for you. For special needs, healthcare needs.
Yes.
You understand me? And them people in the private sector, you understand me? Some of them, they the company they work for, you know what I mean? But get health insurance for them. Some of them, you know what I mean? And the rich people, if they want private health insurance, let them go buy it. But then they must pay public health insurance too.
Yeah, sure. Because, you know, listen why you saying that. Listen to me. You know, I going to get my truck license and insured. My license come up to about, my insurance come up to like $600. Now I'm going to get a license. You know what my license was for my truck? More $700, buddy. Listen now. And guess what? I get my truck insured in December, right? Now I go and get a license just last week from my friend. You know what? I just paid out close to $700. You know when that up? That up my license up in May. So you know what it means? When May come, I have to go again and get a next $700 for till next year May. So we are paying. Listen, it's crazy, man. And so I shouldn't get nothing back. No, I shouldn't have no health insurance. Look how much money I spend on Danny when the electricity bill, what I pay on Danny when the cable bill.
Let me show you another thing, Scrooge.
Man, all these taxes we paying, and look, you saying what I get. And then the police can pull me over. I'm gonna say that's really quick. And then the police will pull me over in my truck or my car and treat me dead bad when they paying all these bills and paying the police and all my taxes. How is this possible? Without probable cause. How is this possible? How is this possible? This crazy, man. This is a real third world country. We must be in the sixth world, man. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
Say you have save some money, right? Or
yeah.
Have some money, right? And you want to buy a tractor and a truck.
Yes, sir.
Right? Why should you have to pay duties on that? And when you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
You want to get in the trucking business and you got to pay duties on them things.
It's crazy,
you understand me? The poor man, or you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yes,
but them big companies, you know what I mean? With these PPPs and things, they getting deals with them foreign investors too. You think them people, them big contractors, them foreign contractors, and them PPP people, public-private partnership people, you think they paying duties?
No. Government give them incentives.
Tax incentive.
Government going to be incentive, customs and all that stuff that let them come through at a certain price. Remember with Robin Hood, the incident with Robin Hood and Sandy Schaefer and Hubert Alexander Minister when he was the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, and he showed you all the stuff and what came in through customs and how it would value a certain amount of money and they got it through for a certain amount of way less than what government's supposed to charge. Yeah.
Man, what's it?
But anyway.
One more thing. Last
thing. I got a call on the ring. Go ahead.
Watch me. They like to talk about all. The MP should be there should govern for their members, right, for their constituents, right? Now watch that. Now you use MP in a port and get in Bainstown, right, or Grandstown, right?
Yeah.
And you say, well, what kind of taxes we need to bring forward in the country to help the poor people, right? So the taxes what they should have been doing is income tax.
Yeah.
The income tax where the poor people don't pay, they exempt.
Yes.
And the more you make, the more you pay.
Yes.
So, you know what I mean? The middle class people, they can be paying. And
yes.
If you said who above them, they can be paying even more percentage.
Yes.
But watch me. So the MP in the poor neighborhoods, they ain't trying to get no income tax in the country.
Yes.
So they ain't government for you, bro.
Yes, you're right. Anyway.
You know what the media can tell them? Oh, we need to fix, we need potholes fixed, we need parks fixed, we need road paved. Come on, man, we need income tax and health insurance tax.
Yes.
So we could have health care.
We should get some back.
We need like what you call it, a livable wage.
Yes. Thank you, man.
That's what you know what I'm saying.
Yes, you're right, brother.
But anyway, bro.
You did wonderful, man. You made some good points. Thank you very much, man. Thanks a lot. You made some good points. You talking about the taxes, you know. I went the FYUP coming right now. I went to FYUP. I went in there, I bought about 20 sheet of plywood trying to finish my place now. And you need to see when my price range come up, let's say $789 or something like that, right? Now with the VAT, listen now, with the VAT, most $80. So when I look at the thing, it went up to $800 and something when the price range for the plywood was actually $7 something. But when they put a tax, man, yes, we need income tax, but we wasting. Listen, we spending plenty of money in this country, we ain't getting nothing back, bro. It's right. It ain't right. Go ahead, caller. You're on inside, Indy. Sorry for taking so long.
No, you don't gotta be sorry. Give thanks and praise to Scrooge. I pop out. I missed about maybe half an hour of the show or more because I get caught up in the roadblocks. So when I come back, I meet you talking, but I meet theirs on the radio. But I say include schools must see some soothsayer or clairvoyance. Exactly, I just called you the same procedure, right, Scoozy?
Yeah.
And the dehumanizing narratives from the young officer, like I turn left to go that's Meadow Street, right, by Malabar, by BC Orders.
Mm-hmm.
So, he's saying that the car attendant is SD, because, a little buggy inside the shop, right? So they could tell the officer said, he screwed down the window and he approached me. So I was trying to find my driver's license in the phone, the gallery, but I changed phones. So I didn't realize that. So eventually they find the passport. But I was telling my brother bring my wallet with the driver's license in it. So I said, Mom, my license good until 2027. I say, pay the government extra and all. Plus they pay up on the fight. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we talked about all this and they paying the taxes and areas. So two of the young officers came over in a belligerent manner. So one telling me to calm down or whatever it was, and calling me boy and all of this and that. I say, man, you here, you born August 8, 1960.
I said, man, you're a man. I could be a granddaddy.
So they believe. I mean, why this be like that, man? Like,
they disrespectful. Disrespectful. That's the
power.
power.
He threatened to lock me up for something. I don't know what it is, but the cell don't make no sense. Right? They say, for what? I was like, that's scared of some people.
Because you drive no driver's license.
For me, that don't. Yeah, but that don't mean. Just what I'm saying is.
You have your driver's license.
These people don't. Well, no, I didn't have it on me.
No, but I mean, you have it.
I thought I had a copy in the phone.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is the level of
disrespect.
And we paying them, right? And the exchange, but one officer was professional as always, right? And so, I had a sensible dialogue with him. But, the thing is, Scoozy, it's the contempt for one another is what frightens me. And so,
yes, how we look at destroying one another in the country.
And before I left, he was talking about how we becoming a police state, and he was talking about an international imbecile, right? I don't want to call his name, but of course he's the president of a country, right?
Yeah.
Who's committing
international
geopolitical nightmares, right? And you obsess idly by, but let me show you something. Let's get back to the quick minute lesson here. Everybody's sitting back and watching the theatrics and then making strategic moves and making their alliance according to the outcome of these geopolitical encounters, right? I've been following it for a while. I don't need to be a specialist. I could just use common sense.
Yes.
But I'll tell you this. You said something very important in which these are impulsive actions by our neighbor to the north, the Leviathan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Without consultation with the UN General Assembly or the UN Security Council, whatever it is. I don't. You understand what I'm saying? So this is not the first time these things have happened in history where countries act impulsively and belligerently. And I mean, I just saying if the question for me is, we need a lawyer, somebody who's voicing international law. But, international law doesn't exist if you can't uphold it then.
Yeah, no.
Because that's what I was saying. I tell Anku the other day, you could just Google incidents in which European powers in America has breached international law. And you could put it in a chronological fashion.
Trump is right there, plain as day.
Yeah, but remember when the guy told me, say, Trump wouldn't make history on the radio? He was telling me that, because initially everybody did like Trump, he liked some of his policies, his concepts, his like this.
He's going contrary now.
But what he's signaling now is a weakness of America right now.
That's right.
Even with the trade encounters with them in Canada,
mm-hmm.
Canada will end up winning because Canada is sitting back poised and Canada has power to the bargaining table as far as resources, timber, and different resources that they have. So they're able to pull the, influence also, and also, China, I mean, Canada is not segregated in its consensus as far as being like governed provincial influence and coming together with a consensus then versus America, you know what I mean? So there's a divide, right? But I think, for me personally, this president is fulfilling prophecy because and Uncle hinted to that. If you really listen to Uncle, you don't talk as loud as I do, but you have to sit back and observe, But as the home and abroad, we can see the belligerence and the despotism within our own government and the disrespect for the masses because the masses are divided.
Yes.
And they are very ignorant and blindly subservient. And I could fall to say ignorant because even if you're knowledgeable, you can still be ignorant because you can be ignorant about a man's actions and ideas and his ideals and with his agenda because you're always ignorant about something.
Yes.
And so we must love the word ignorance because it exists everywhere. It's ubiquitous. It's not like some ignorance just one place. It's just more in the inner city and but they have us fighting for crumbs and calling us bums, right? But really and truly, Susie, just keep up the good work. But you talking about the VAT and all them things there. Yeah, I see those things. That's why I was saying the other day, the little roof thing there. And you order the stuff from front and you go in there and you buy the little things that you need right here. And you see the price on the lumber, right?
What? Crazy?
Like I was wondering, like how people just build houses.
Crazy?
I mean, they even have you believing they go into the bank and borrowing money to build a house. And
it's expensive.
Money from the bank, like the bank is your friend. When you really look at it, the
double.
bank's been using us for so long. I mean, if you go back in history with black people, we realize black people didn't really need banks. Back in the 60s, like that. They didn't because they had ASU and they would
pull together
with repairs and come together and build a house. So I mean, the system has segregated us, and they're going to win this one because we have become very selfish. And we have elevated school and become educated, and we come down and we show contempt for one another, and nobody knows nothing, only them, and everything is gospel according to this and the status quo. So the world continues to wallow on. I'm just sorry. I'm trying to deal with my kids, but sometimes you'd be sorry even bring them here on this judgment.
Yep.
You see, they say unjust me. I'd be sorry bring them here on this judgment.
Because there's a lot of unjust.
A lot of this country with migrants and doing what they want to do and then disrespecting the women people and dismissing our affairs and our concerns for our children and our hospital and the schools and likes and all the different things. And the foreigners are allowed to get away with what we can't get away with. And it's just that we it's like, and then you have imbeciles actually upholding this. Their party. Anyhow, I give up. I'm going to live up.
Oh, Lord, 52. But like what 52 is saying, okay, you think we ain't feeling the effects of our leaders? Did you listen to the minister responsible, what the Department of the Fred Mitchell is now? What he is now? Foreign Affairs. And you heard him in his slick way talking about the reason why, listen closely, they gave it so much work permit. It's because so many baby people are unqualified in the country need workers because there's a lot of work and development, airports and et cetera. You say these things, but this would happen in the country and they need people who qualify. But we have the people who qualify because we just brought back some nurses. What if we increased the pay of our nurses in this country? We brought some retiree nurses back and I think we need them. I think we need the Filipino nurses. I think we need the Cuban nurses and stuff like that until we could get ourselves together with our healthcare system. We need as much help as possible in the country to deal with the volume of people who are on dialysis, who have chronically ill diseases, people who are dealing with cancer, AIDS, incurable diseases and stuff like that. We need a variety of different nurses and doctors from Iran, the Caribbean. And I think the only way the Caribbean can ever be able to put up a good fight if the Caribbean unite, where we have all of the prime ministers thinking one way and supporting one another by trade and helping power one another. Let us travel with one another. Let us trade with one another. Let's invest. Let's see what gets going on in Trinidad and Tobago. Let's see what's going on in St. Lucia. Let's see what's going on in Venezuela. And let's just start to trade and bring all these stuff and bring all these things in our country and change the density of our country. I think we can take this last call. Go ahead, caller. You're on Inside the Inner City.
Good afternoon, Scrooge.
Good night. Good night to you.
How you doing, man?
I'm fine, sir.
That's good. Hey, Scrooge.
Yes, sir.
Do you think the U.S. president is going to make any more swoops in the Caribbean? You have some more bounties in Haiti.
Yeah.
You think he's going to make a couple more swoops? When he's doing these bounties, make a couple passes to 3-2.
Boy, the man is a madman. You heard the man say, right? The man ain't playing.
He ain't mad, He ain't mad. Don't finish the trumpets, man.
Okay.
Don't say that.
Okay. What he is?
Someone got to have the sense in this kind of wicked time.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Honestly, it's like the things that happen in this country and allowed to happen, and like nobody know what's happening.
I agree.
Everyone know what's going on, and everyone quiet now before an election now, get ready to get your new voters card. All this BS, Scrooge. You know they're getting ready to screw us, right? I mean, and they get us right to the slaughter with their foolishness, and I mean, they know they're full of corruption to the core. You know, and I mean, it goes on and on and on and on. I hope Mr. Trump listening, you know. Honestly, because I mean, I see him out. What do you mean, Mitchell?
Huh? Yeah, Fred Mitchell.
Saying something about him.
Yeah.
Mr. Trump, See, he need to shut his mouth. Honestly, he need to shut his mouth. He shut his mouth.
What Donald Trump?
Because honestly, because I mean, like sometime in life, some things just be going on and on and on and on and like it don't have no end. In this country, it don't have no end. This illegal migration problem we have. And you can't even talk about it. They call it xenophobic.
Okay.
And something's wrong with that. You know? There's something definitely wrong in this country, man. I hope Mr. Trump come in and make another scene and make a swoop this way, pick a couple, and then, maybe that couple.
Come pick them up. Come pick them up with their bed. Come pick them up with their bed, eh?
Listen to me, man. When these do foolishness, these get locked up.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
Yes, sir. And the people.
We have to face the court. We have to go, and life. How could it be in this life? You have people in this country who are above the law.
Yep.
That's funky and stinky. That's not like nanny. Above the law. You hear that?
Yep. Yep.
It's something called the law.
Yeah.
You know?
The law.
Hey, Scrooge, let me show you something. My car license and thing, insurance up in December, right?
Yeah.
And you know what I stopped doing?
What?
I stopped driving my car. I start walking now. All right? You know why?
Why?
Because I abide by the law.
Yes, if it ain't licensed in the shorts.
I see all kinds of people riding up and down. I'm talking about 10 and 8 abreast and thing on these trail bike and things, riding up and down over the holidays and thing like it's no law. And they were riding. These people are serious. I mean, we got to do better in this country, man.
Yes, sir. But
anyway, you expect one set of people to be law-abiding and the next set, they could just be above. The funky now.
Yes.
In this country.
That's what I'm trying to send the message
That's
out there.
like
That's the message I'm trying to send to the BME people.
That's what I'm talking about, man.
That's right. And that's why
and like we gonna smell them.
Yes.
And they raise all of in Parliament and thing and they funk and thing and they just...
We had no apology. Listen, we had no apology.
No apology
from the defense force officer who get convicted. From the defense force who get convicted. From the next officer who, before the New York court now, we ain't getting not a peep sake from the Minister of National Security, neither the Prime Minister. And
why? What is he protecting? Why?
And,
why?
And like I tell people, it goes deep because if defense force officers who are implicated or who now before the court, if they were bringing in drugs and smuggling drugs and firearms in this country, how many people that went down to in these communities and the guns and drugs end up in their hands and cost 24? How many? How many? That could be in the millions. And you know something? Listen, again on this. The commissioner of police said that we had 80 murders. And yeah, I know. But I say, I just want to say this. Let me just say this. I just want to say this. I believe that the reason it is the 80 is because when those connections got severed from the very high top, that slowed down the distribution what's going on in the country. That's what I believe happened. Because that had to be because there were guys who believed they were immune, were getting away scot-free from murders in this country and armed robberies in this country.
Hey, Scrooge?
Yes.
I remember looking in that Punch paper, right?
Yeah.
For a whole week. They announced in 73 after this number 73.
Yeah.
This number 73. And it keeps sounding like someone stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, for politics, we got to do better.
Well, I don't give a crap of what it could be. It could be 50 unless I know it's hard work put in from what's going on in the community. And there's a lot of people realizing that if you do crime, you hurt people in this country, you would get eradicated as well. But I'm saying to you, I know the implication. I used to sell drugs. See, listen, I trying to tell people. I wasn't just a gangster, you know. I used to sell drugs. I sell drugs for close to 15 years. So I know how it'll shift from one person to the next, and I know how the guns when I dealing with my boss, and he has other boss, and they come to me and we working together, and we splitting up these guns and splitting up these drugs. That's how it go. It goes all around now. So when a load of just say 1,000 pound of weed or 5,000 pound of weed reach, that don't stay in one spot. That go around Mason Edition, that go around Bient, and they're going to a drug dealer that way or a gangster this way, and they're going to ship it out. And that's how it go. Just the same way as the gun.
Hey, but let's keep it real now. When we in this life we live in, all is born as human being and thing, and we grow up and everything, right?
Yes.
And then we can see plants, and then we can call plants like marijuana. We calling that like some bad, something. You know, judgment could come one day and thing, and the truth could come one day anyhow. Yeah. But the bottom line still remains, right? Yes. We ain't got them kind of narcotics and things. What they pushing, like they say with the fellas trying to sell to America.
Yeah.
And fentanyl and all them other
kind
of
fentanyl
things, right?
and all those stuff.
And you know, and we got some cocaine and some other bad things and material around here, right?
Yeah.
But then the thing, bottom line is that, I mean, we got to be the law is the law, and the law is enforced on the small poor man who can't afford to pay his fine. It should be enforced on the politician who could afford to pay any fine.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you, brother. Yeah, I want to say thanks to the callers. You guys did a wonderful job. And I like to have this conversation. I just want to show the Bahamian people what we're facing in this country. We got rid of the British. But guess what? We call this the black crab syndrome that is going on in the country. And we're going to destroy one another in this country. You understand? When we see people again passing away of negligence in the hospital. And I guess there's two sides to the story. Those nurses are overworked. Some are unprofessional as well and need to be properly trained. They need to increase their pay, but also people get immune to seeing people die a lot in the hospital. So sometimes we need to relieve them. That's why we need a variety of different nurses and doctors from different culture. See, people might talk about immigration, right? And I'm going to end on this, right? And they'll be saying, oh, we hiring the Chinese, we hiring the Philippines, we hiring the Cubans and all this stuff. Listen, there's no nation in the country that don't do trade or some type of business when it comes to the healthcare or the educational, where you bring in people from different profession. You know, if they're the best doctors, like how the Cubans are the best doctors, bring them here. The Filipinos, they are some of the nicest set of people when it comes to treating people, you know, when it comes to hospital and Bahamians as well. But I'm telling you, this is their thing. This is what they're good for. But having them there, you can imagine having doctors and nurses from around different parts of the country. Different part of the country, but also from around the world, working to the Princess Margaret Hospital, another hospital that we will develop over the course of the next 20 years. You know, that's what I'm hoping. And if we're able to bring them in and Bahamian nurses will start to see how they perform, it will also change their atmosphere, change their way of thinking, you know, because they're seeing how the Filipinos them deal with the Bahamian patients. You know, they talk to them nice. Same thing with the Cuban doctors. And sometimes we need that because, you know, they're underpaid and they're stressful. So we need that. We need these things to happen in our country, man. You know, even though the Fred Mitchell said what he said, right? But I understand as well. But in many cases, if we are properly paying a lot of experts, whether in the healthcare industry, whether it's in the medical industry, whether it's in the dentistry industry, whether whatever our students we send off to school to get their scholarship, and some of them do not return to the Bahamas, is the reason why, because they're underpaid. You understand? So if we want the best set of people here to help change the country, we have to increase the pay of the nurses, the doctors, probably even the police defense force officers. But at the same time, we want an independent body. The police want the insurance money, I'm all for that. But we want an independent body that can actually deal with corruption on the defense force, on the police force, and in Parliament we have the select committee that deals with how many opposition, how many funds that each MP has acquired from the enter politics and when they leave politics. You know, that's supposed to be the law. But that is not even working, because even the opposition leader, Michael Pentard, he didn't name off none of the guys on the PLP side who did not give their estimate. You know, and he could be the one to speak on these things. But do you see he speaking on it? So the system got us, you know? System got us. You know, I just want to read something real quick. Bless up them boy Elroy. Bryce, Elroy drive the truck today, man. Bless up. Scrooge, thanks for playing that clip of President Trump saying he probably wouldn't make it into heaven. That is President Trump saying that he ain't gonna make it into heaven. Trump, is a cold-blooded murderer. And yes, he's doing some stuff. I understand what the caller said. And he's doing some things to his country. But at the same time, he is a cold-blooded murderer. And the guy who shot that young lady, do you see his response was? He killed a lady, and you see his response was, he didn't feel nothing. Not a thing. Not a thing. An innocent woman who ain't had a gun, who was not wanted, who wasn't breaking no law in the country, wasn't wanted, was shot and killed innocently. And the man who killed her, hey, he didn't even go check on the woman. And know when he killed her innocently. And do you all want this to happen in our country? It's happening now. See, I'm a Bahamian. I'm not against the police. I'm not against the defense force. I'm not against no politician. What I'm against is the practices and the system. And instead, we have a united Bahamas where we don't leave no one behind. That's what's the deal, a square deal. That once we gain independence and we voted and we won the general election under the rest of the party, that every one of us would have been given a square deal so that we could have a wonderful life in this country. And that has been denied us in this country. So I hope you guys enjoy the show, because I only giving you on my perspective on what I see happening in the United States, and I'm seeing a reflection come here in the Bahamas. And we had a murder in the United States of America. A 37-year-old woman lost her life innocently. And then we had a young suspect here in the country of the Bahamas. We have to wait till the autopsy, but he was living when he was held in custody. And when he went in the station, he came out unalive, means dead. So there has to be some type of explanation. We have had officers charged with serious offenses looking to come back home because they don't want to do the time in the States. But he's the same one who gave out strategic information, maps to allow illegal drugs and firearms to enter the country, and they're the one who's transporting it. And now we get the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Honorable Fred Mitchell, stating that Bahamians is going to be harder for Bahamians to get in America. This is because of our government. Okay? That's them, and they never apologize. We had like I said, we had a young guy, similar. Now, like I said, we don't know what happened in the station. We don't know exactly what happened. We know that he was alive, and when he came out of the station, he was deceased. But let me just say this to you. Similar things happening where our own law enforcement protect their own. Did you see the President of the United States, Donald Trump? He spoke highly about that officer, the ICE agent who killed that young lady, and said that she tried to knock him down and he was in his rights. Then when you watch the film again, he came back and changed what he said because he saw the old voice of what really happened. And that is murder across the board. I don't know if much is going to happen over there and here, because we have cover-ups over here as well. But just remember this. We have officers who are police. We have officers who have sons and daughters. And what you do to people comes right back around to you. All right? Because police officers lock up other police officers' sons in this country. All right? Just know that. So whatever you do to people will come back around to you one day. So I'm completely out of time. I'd like to say my name is Valentino O'Brien, host of the talk show Inside the Inner City. That comes on every Friday at 6:30 p.m. except holidays. And my two nicknames, Scoochie or Scrooge. And it's a pleasure to be a host. And I hope that you enjoy the show and understand where I'm coming from. I want us to unite. Because if we don't unite, we're going to be just like America, where you have infighting. America could beat any country in the world. But guess what? They cannot beat themselves inside. They have infighting. The Bahamas is headed in that same direction. And that is what break down Rome when infighting. That's what brought down Rome. That's what brought down all of the great nations of the world when they get beside themselves and start to accept what is wrong as right And we are headed in that direction. So I'm your host, Valentino Brown. See you next week on Guiding Radio 96.9 FM. Enjoy.